Support the original creator Kenchi 618. Chapter 8, Immortal in the Seriidii. It had been just over 2 days since the end of all of the ruckus that had occurred throughout the Seriidii, and things were calming down. Though with all of the wounded and the issues certain keeping people from returning home, the more, shall we say, restless individuals? Yes, the more restless individuals had to do what they could to fight boredom. Naruto paced around in the front of a darkened room with a stern look on his face. Quite honestly, you are all not that bad at all as far as a squad of ninja would go. For most people, you'd get the drop on them and kill them. Unfortunately for all of you, I'm not most people, and I wound up kicking your asses in fast forward. Naruto stopped and looked out at the crowd of the shadowed members of the Onmitsukido executive militia. Any questions? He waited for a moment to hear nothing. Okay, good, moving on. He then pulled a dry erase board out and began drawing rudimentary diagrams. One of the things that I noticed is that you all don't use that many traps. I expected the entire 2nd Division HQ to be booby-trapped to the hilt, not a single one. Today's lecture will be to teach you all the nuances of trapping and the sweet science of the ambush. Questions? Once again no one said anything. Good, then let's start. Now how do you know you're in an ambush? You're probably thinking, when things don't feel right. Well, in that case you're wrong, and being wrong means you're dead. You're being ambushed when everything feels right. When everything seems like it's going your way, things are going too well, and that means you're being ambushed. What about diversions? One of the special forces said. Naruto pointed at him. That is a very good question. A good trap feels like a simple diversion, something threatening enough to get your attention to divert it from something else. If it feels like it's too easy to get out of, and the answer to the issue is too basic and spelled out for you, it is a trap, and doing the obvious will get you killed. Likewise for situations that feel too comfortable when they really shouldn't. Naruto then blinked and his face went stark in realization. Speaking of traps, this is one, isn't it? Everyone in the room remained still and silent. Yeah, this is a trap. There's no way in hell I'd be getting in here without Soifan trying to take my head off for doing it, which means dashed. Naruto was cut off when he quickly burst into smoke as a fist passed through it. Damn. Soifan said to herself, I just missed him. She stood up and looked at the force that she commanded. That was acceptable as a diversion. The execution on my part was flawed. I waited until he realized something was wrong to attempt to strike. Remember, never let your quarry have time to deduce that something is wrong, or else your ambush is compromised. Now back to work, she said as she walked out of the room. As she exited, the dry erase board transformed back into Naruto, who cracked his neck and grinned at the elites. Rule number 1, I'm number 1. Rule number 2, there is never just one of me in a room. Rule number 3, the more you have to convince yourself I'm not there, the better chance there is of me actually being there. You're all dismissed, Naruto said, disappearing in a swirl of leaves and wind. XXX. Naruto reappeared outside, standing on the roof of the 2nd Division headquarters with a smile on his face. Ah, I love this place, it's awesome. So many people to mess with, it's like a hidden village kind of. I'm glad you like it so much, Uzumaki. Soifan said as she stood behind him. Any last words for trespassing on my division grounds? Hello my little bee, Naruto said, turning to face her before blocking her Zanpakuto with a kunai. As kind of you as it is, I don't really want another one of your love marks, beautiful. People will start spreading rumors about us. Soifan narrowed her eyes at him and put her Zanpakuto up. I don't really want to hear this from you. Naruto in turn placed his kunai back up his sleeve and out of sight. Fine. So what are you doing right now? Don't you need to get back to your office? Everyone in any position of influence or power I've ever met had tons of office busy work to take care of. Well, I'm efficient unlike many of the other captains, and my seated officers handle all but the most pressing of affairs for my squad. All I really do is work for the Onmitsukido. Soifan explained to him before coughing in her hand as she remembered what she wanted with him. I have to speak to you about a few issues. Naruto looked at the petite captain and tilted his head in puzzlement. Like what? What do you need from me? Soifan turned on her heel and walked away. Follow me to my office, we can talk freely there, she said before vanishing as she utilized Shuinpa. Naruto rolled his eyes at the dismissive way she just ordered him to do something. Woman, you could have at least walked with me to the office, never mind the fact that I know the way. That's not the point, he said before disappearing in another swirl of leaves and wind. XXX. 4th Division Headquarters, Medical Bay. Ichigo was stuck in his bed. Despite the fact that Orihime quickly healed him on the spot, keeping him from critical condition, nearly getting cut in half, hurt like hell, and really didn't give much weight towards asking the head of the healing division to leave a mere 2 days later. And he learned that anyone trying to cause a ruckus in her HQ under the watch of one Unohana Retsu would inevitably be scared shitless by the seemingly docile, tender woman. Letting out a sigh, Ichigo peered outside of his window, bored to death. Stupid wounds? I'm so damn bored in here. I want to go find everyone else, and where's Rukia at? I can find everyone for you if you need me to. Ichigo. Ichigo turned to his open window to see Yoruchi looking inside from outdoors. I'm kind of bored anyway. No. He said, sitting up and looking over at the beautiful woman, everyone doesn't need to be in here messing around with me. He sat in thought for a moment before speaking. Hey Yoruchi, why did Naruto come to the Soul Society with us? I mean, I don't know him like I do Chad, Yuryu, and Inoue, and he didn't know Rukia at all. Yoruchi smiled. I guess you could consider it him doing a favor for me. I wanted to come back here to look things over anyway, and I wanted someone else I knew could handle themselves to come along to help me keep you all out of too much trouble. She leaned on the windowsill, placing her cheeks in her hands. Why do you ask, Ichigo? Ichigo scratched his head. I don't know. He's a strange guy, and he's strong. He's really strong. How did you even convince him to do it? It wasn't that hard. Yoruchi said in a sly manner. Of course it didn't hurt that I transformed right in front of him after I asked. He's a pervert, but he's a reliable person, and you already know about his immortality thing. Do you believe it? Ichigo frowned at the question. I don't know what to think. Everything he said sounded 100% serious. Do you believe him? Yoruchi nodded with a serious look on her face. Absolutely I do. He's knowledgeable about too many events in the world of the living that no one should know about, and he can give me first-hand accounts of certain times in your human history. She then kept her last thought to herself, and eyes like that can't fake pain when recalling all of the time that has passed for one person. It's his eyes, no matter what they will always show the emotion he tries to keep to himself for those skilled enough to seek it. Ichigo lay back down in his bed. Well, either way, I trust him. I didn't at first, but after this whole crazy thing and all of the stuff we did I can't help but respect the guy. Hey, how strong is he by the way? Yoruchi blinked. I don't really know. I fought him before, but that was before both of us were in actual fighting shape. It was mostly us messing around before we traded one good attack and that was that. He fought the Captain Commander Yamamoto without too much damage being done to either of them, so I don't know how good he really is. When he fought Soifan he held back too much on my account and got himself hurt badly. Ichigo took all of this to mind. So if we fought, could I beat him? Yoruchi snorted and began laughing, putting a tick mark of annoyance on the substitute Shinigami's head. All you had to do was say, not yet, Ichigo. Or better yet, you could have just said no. But you had to laugh, didn't you? XXX. 2nd Division Headquarters, Soifan's office. Naruto sat comfortably in a chair in front of Soifan's desk as he patiently watched finish up her work. He simply chose to look aimlessly around the office that he had already been in beforehand with Yoruchi, but getting a claw mark across the face kept him from analyzing everything he could in there. Stop sizing up my office, Uzumaki. Soifan said, not looking up from her work, but still well aware of what Naruto was doing. I'll be done in just a moment. Naruto gave a smile that she couldn't see. It's okay, you can do what you want. I have all the time in the world, literally. There's no rush for me, my little bee. Soifan kept silent until she finished and set her completed documents to the side. First of all, will you stop calling me that? Only Yoruchi-sama has ever called me that and I would like that to remain as it is. Naruto thought about it for a moment. Will you go out with me, Dash? He could feel her Ryatsu spike at the implication, to explore the Siriidii? Damn, let me finish first, Soifan. He cleared his throat and continued, I have no idea where I'm going or what there is to do for any kind of relief around here. What do you do in your spare time? I train. Soifan said, glaring at him slightly. That's what a good warrior is supposed to do in times of peace, train their bodies and spirits for times of strife. Naruto fought the urge to sigh. I meant when you're not training. You've got to have a cool-down hobby. Soifan quickly answered him, I meditate. Naruto's smile returned as he leaned forward in his chair and put his hands on her desk. There you go, that's something. I meditate all the time too, it's relaxing. So what else do you do for fun? Come on, you've got to have something. No, I don't. Soifan said, starting to get perturbed with Naruto. Speaking of Naruto, he gave her a deadpan look before abruptly standing and grabbing her arm, surprising Soifan with the sudden action. He got as far as halfway to the door when she reversed his grip to a dominant position for her behind his back and shoved him face-first into said door. Ow. Close aren't we? Didn't even have to buy you dinner first? I'm awesome. Soifan jerked his arm to an uncomfortable angle. What do you think you're doing, Uzumaki? Speak quickly before you lose this, she said, accentuating her point by putting more torque in his arm. Ow. Okay. Naruto said, trying to get her to ease off of him. I just wanted to get you out of this stuffy old office. You're too pretty to be doing nothing but working all the time. How long have you been doing this? 100 years? Soifan was no longer trying to break his arm, but she moved close enough to hiss lowly into his ear, I don't like you, Uzumaki. He opened his mouth to offer a witty retort when she jerked his arm to get him to be quiet. Shut up. You have an incredible amount of skill for battle. You fought Yamamoto Soteishu to a standstill. You got the better of me in our conflict. You are powerful and yet you walk around with this attitude. You never take anything seriously. You always pretend that everything is all a big joke, even in combat. What is wrong with you? Naruto looked over his shoulder at Soifan, staying silent for a long time as her hardened eyes tried burrowing into his head with her gaze. You really don't like me? No. She said assertively, I tolerate you because Uruchi-sama holds you in high regard for some reason. Were that not the case, I probably would have tried to exterminate you by now for being a nuisance. But trying to kill you would clearly displease her, and your death isn't worth it. Soifan finally let go of Naruto's arm and let him turn to face her. Naruto was rubbing his arm trying to get the feeling of pins and needles out. I see. Yoruichi-chan, huh? Yoruichi-sama. Soifan exclaimed threateningly, you will address her properly. Naruto picked at his ear. Yeah, no. I don't address anyone properly. I haven't done it once in the tons of years I've been alive, and I'll be damned if I start now. So let's go find Yoruichi-chan right now. I can do it. Initially she had planned to berate him for once again using Yoruichi's name in a far too familiar manner. However, after registering what he had said along with it, Soifan's eyes widened. Really? Really? Naruto said with a grin. Right now? She wondered, an opportunity to actually spend time with her idol for the first time in over 100 years dangling right in front of her. I have to remain behind in case of work. It's my duty. Blah, blah, blah. Naruto said as he created a Kage Bunshin and hinged it into Soifan before sending it behind the desk in her place. There. The only way to prove it isn't you is to punch it in the face. Is there anyone at all under your command with the balls to do that? Soifan shook her head. Then that means that you're clear. My clone is no dummy, and anything that it can't do it'll leave for you when we get back, so let's go. He said, opening the window in her office and jumping out, motioning for her to follow. If I find her and you're not with me, I'm not sending her over to you. That was all Soifan needed to get going. She was sick of that stuffy office anyway. As long as her work got done, who really cared if she stepped out for a moment? She was a damn captain, she could do what she wanted. So with that in mind, Soifan hopped outside with Naruto and the two took off in search of one Shihu and Yoruichi. XXX. Okay. She wasn't in the hideout. I knew that was going to happen. Naruto said as he and Soifan walked through the roads of the Siriidii. The only reason we went up there is because you insisted on seeing it. Naruto then pouted, you didn't even want to use the hot spring while we were there. Not with you, I didn't. Soifan quipped dryly as the two walked along, Shinigami moving out of their path as they did. Naruto quickly noticed this. Oi, are the other Shinigami scared of you or something? Soifan's face didn't really register any interest in the question. My skill and strength would make me unapproachable by most, it would be natural that I would intimidate them. Honestly, since Yoruichi-sama did years ago, you're actually the only person that has ever done anything like this with me. Feel honored, Uzumaki. Naruto felt the urge to facepalm. It's not your power that really does it, it's your demeanor. If they weren't me, then they'd obviously think that talking to you would cost them their lives. Naruto decided to attempt to keep engaging the beautiful assassin in conversation. So where are we and what's special about this place? The road opened up into a rather spacious area with multiple buildings intended for living facilities all around them. As Soifan began to explain, this is the 8th Division headquarters and barracks. Captain Kiraku Shunsui is the leader of this division. He seems to be a person after your own heart, Uzumaki. I have no idea why you would spend so much time pestering me and my division when you could come here. Naruto threw up his hands behind his head. I keep hanging out around the 2nd Division because it reminds me the most of my original home. He then kept the follow-up thought of that comment to himself, that, and I am going to find a way to talk to you if it kills me, and you're probably going to be the one to do that yourself at this rate. He decided to try his plan of getting Soifan to open up. So, when we fought you didn't use your bankai on me. Why? Soifan casually started answering his question as it was a topic she had no problems talking about. Fighting, my bankai goes directly against my fighting style. It's not the type to be used by a covert ops specialist. I can't move the way I need to when I use it, and the actual attack it causes is not exactly subtle. Naruto nodded. He had plenty of moves like that. Hell, his entire career was based off of using moves that were way too destructive for his own good. So can I see it? I'll show you mine? He then blinked and thought about what he had just said once he felt Soifan glaring at him. I did not intend that to sound the way it did. I meant your bankai. Kind of. It would tire me out for no reason at all. Soifan reasoned for not doing so and letting his potential innuendo slide, and it's not really the kind of technique you use for exhibitions or demonstrations. Boo! Naruto said, though he understood. Half of his attacks weren't really things that he wanted to use in front of people that he didn't have a current pressing gripe with. Do you think Yoruchi-chan is here? He rolled his eyes when he felt Soifan glare at him. I'm not going to call her Sama. You might as well try to stab me if it's really bothering you that much. It's worth a look. Soifan said resolutely, and don't complain or question me. You were the one that wanted me to take you on a tour of the Siriidi anyway. This is as close as you're going to get to one. She led him inside of the main building of the division grounds and straight to the office of Shunsui where she simply let herself in. Kurakataishu. The man looked up from leaning back in his desk chair at Soifan and Naruto standing in the doorway. Naruto pointed at the relaxed-looking captain. Hey, you're the guy that was about to help me fight Yamamoto Jiji. Shunsui pointed back, and you're the kid that was going toe-to-toe with Yamaji and smoked all of those Minos Grande with that one attack. What's your name again? It's supposed to be really familiar to me for some reason. Naruto gave him a deadpan look. It's Uzumaki Naruto. Nice to meet you now that I'm not fighting the lot of you, and who knows, you might even come to like me. Me and Soifan had a little runaround during all of the invasion stuff, and now look, we're great friends. He tried putting an arm around her and wound up eating a jab to the breadbasket that had him sucking air. See? That was friendly little love tap. He said in a squeaky voice. Shunsui nodded and chuckled at Naruto and Soifan's interaction. So what can I do for both of you? Do you need my assistance with something or would you simply like to have a drink with me? Naruto raised his hand. I vote we do the second one. Soifan forcefully lowered his arm. Oh come on, why not? I want to get you drunk, you look like you'd be more fun that way. She refused to budge on the matter. Damn it, fine, maybe I'll come back later. Have you seen Yoruchi-chan anywhere? I haven't seen her all day. We're looking for her. Shunsui rubbed his stubble as he thought, I can't say that I have. You might want to ask one of your other friends, the ones you came here with. The Ichigo kid should still be in the medical ward if you head over towards the 4th Division way. He shrugged his shoulders. Other than that I don't know what to tell you. Soifan nodded. Thank you anyway. Until the next time we meet Kurakataishu. She then turned to exit the room. Naruto was quick to follow suit until Shunsui called out to him, actually I do remember where I know your name. He reached into his desk and pulled out a familiar orange book. Would you do me the honor of signing this for me, Naruto-sama? I'm sorry, but I had to hide it from my lieutenant and Soifan Taishu. Naruto looked around the corners outside for Soifan before grinning and pulling out a pen. Of course. Good to see that I have Shinigami fans. We should hang out sometime. XXX. 4th Division Headquarters. So what was it you were doing talking with Kurakataishu back there? Soifan asked him as they both walked through the halls of the medical-based squad. You had a satisfied look on your face when you caught up to me. Naruto had a knowing grin on his face. Oh nothing. I just have more fans of my writing skills than I could have ever imagined. I wonder how much money I have in the Soul Society now compared to the money from the living world. I need to check my account soon. Soifan gave him a look of skepticism. You write? And you actually make money from it? That's a shocker. Think what you want to. My bank account should tell you all you need to know when the time comes. Naruto replied rather dismissively. The hospital. Much to my surprise and utter delight I actually avoided a prolonged stay in here this time. I didn't touch a single shred of hospital fabric whatsoever. He said, rather proud of that fact. However, Soifan failed to see the magnitude of that achievement. Whatever you say, Uzumaki. Now help me find the Kurosaki brat. Soifan said sternly. Fine. Naruto said, I'm going to get a smile out of you before the day is over, and I don't mean a smirk like when I get hurt, no I mean an actual honest smile. Ichigo. Soifan turned to him almost fearfully if he didn't know any better, quiet you idiot, don't be so loud in here. She hissed in a whisper, you don't want to upset her. Naruto looked at the leader of the Onmitsukado as if she were someone completely foreign to him, you sound shaken up. I stuck you to a giant ball of random debris and threw you at a barrier and you didn't seem as shaken up as you are right now. And upset who? Everyone in this division seems totally chill. Naruto cupped his hands to his mouth again, Ichigo. Oi, where are you at you punk? He yelled, getting a cringe out of Soifan at his tone. I'm glad you like the atmosphere of our division so much Uzumaki-san. The calming voice of Unohana Retsu said as she appeared behind Naruto and Soifan, sending a shiver down the spine of one and putting a smile on the face of the other, however I would appreciate it if you took Soifan Taishu's advice and toned it down while you were here. We have people recovering from their injuries here. Naruto turned around to face Unohana and met her beautiful smile with his own, sorry Retsu-chan. We were just looking for Ichigo, and I kind of knew that making a ruckus would bring you around here. Let's just say I wanted to say hi without the chance of fireballs flying all around my head, so hello. Hello to you too Uzumaki-san. Unohana said, bowing slightly to him, and as long as you keep your volume down feel free to look around for Kurosaki-san. You were heading the right way anyway. Keep going this way to reach the medical bay, it should be easy to find him from there. Naruto nodded, committing the information to memory, got it. Thank you Retsu-chan. I'll have to come back and talk to you sometime before I leave. It would be nice to be on good terms with a doctor with as much as I get beat up. Especially such a pretty one. He finished, winking at her and getting away for his troubles as he and Soifan walked away. Must you be so incorrigible you deviant? Soifan questioned as they got a distance away from Unohana. Honestly, Unohana Taishu is a captain of the Godai 13, and here you are throwing that hapless attitude of yours around like this. It's disrespectful. Naruto looked back at the lovely Unohana who waved once more before going back to her own business. I don't think it's that disrespectful because first of all I'm not a Shinigami so your ranks don't really mean that much to me. Second of all don't you guys get sick of people walking around you like they're tiptoeing through a minefield? You can only have a straight conversation with other captains because everyone is always kissing your ass. I'm sure she's kind of tired of it all of the time. She seemed to enjoy the way I was talking. Taking note of the fact that Naruto easily talked his way out of Unohana's tense smiling aura that usually went with someone disturbing things in her division HQ, Soifan almost had to concede the issue. I see your point. Naruto nodded, I mean, wouldn't you want at least one person in your division that isn't a yes man? From what I've seen even your lieutenant is, and he's pretty cocky most of the rest of the time so having a guy like that fall in line is really something. A smirk came to his face, he kind of recoiled that one time when I was doing that lecture on throwing killing intent into your Ryatsu, that was pretty good. He noticed a smirk form on Soifan's face, there you go, I'm getting you there. It looks like you have a little mischievous streak in you. I like that. Well, I haven't wanted to kill you since we left my headquarters so I guess it is something. Soifan said, the look on her face softening further as she and Naruto continued, so are you sure that Kurosaki Ichigo can help us? Naruto shoved his hands in his pockets and kept walking alongside his companion for the day. Well, if I don't know where Yoruchi-chan is and you don't know, he's the only other person I can think of besides Byakuya who would know and he's here too so we'd have to head here and find him anyway. He grinned to the woman at his side, I'm not as dumb as I look and act all the time. Soifan shook her head, one inconsistency cannot make up for an entire acquaintanceship leaning towards the contrary. Soifan abruptly stopped at a door, Kurosaki's in there. She noticed Naruto wondering how she could find him so easily, even when he's not fighting, his Ryuryoku is abnormally high. Anyone with good experience in sensing spiritual power can find one such as him. She turned her eyes towards him, almost teasing, wait a minute, she was teasing him. She was teasing him, holy shit. Naruto leto tafakalau, Soswime. I'm new at this whole sensing spiritual energy thing. I'm more used to looking for, and finding the living. Dealing with mostly physical powers. Naruto thumped himself on the chest, just give me some time, I'll get the hang of it perfectly. At least I'm back in the saddle when it comes to the fighting part now. Naruto opened the door and gestured for Soifan to enter first. Oi, Ichigo. How are you doing? Ichigo looked at the door and heard Naruto's voice but saw him with Soifan. I'm just great for a guy that almost got cut in half not too long ago. But what are you two doing here, and together to boot? He tilted his head curiously. Are you two on a date? Naruto held Soifan in place before she could go over and cause any more harm to Ichigo to make him stay in the hospital for longer. Soifan, if you kill him you'll get in trouble and Yoruchi-chan will be pissed. Or amused, but for Ichigo's sake I'll keep that one to myself. He let her go when she calmed down and he ended up catching a sharp elbow to the ribs that he was ready for this time and took head on like a champ. Anyway, we need your help. Have you seen Yoruchi-chan today? Ichigo raised an eyebrow. She's not with you? I thought she would have gone to find you to mess with you after she left here. I don't know where she is now. Naruto let out a sigh. He didn't want to use Kage Bunshin because now it was starting to become a matter of pride. He would be damned if he had lost his touch so much that he couldn't track Yoruchi just in his leisure time. He was going to find her before sunset. Lack of knowledge of the area layout be damned. Alright Ichigo, thanks anyway though. Soifan turned and left, as did Naruto, just at a more reserved pace, allowing Ichigo to stop him at the door. Hey Naruto. Naruto turned at the doorway and faced the young man. So are you two actually on a date? Naruto blinked and delivered his answer in a straightforward and completely serious manner. Yes. Yes we are. He gave him a thumbs up while keeping his same expression and finally left the room where he found Soifan waiting right against the wall, glaring at him. Yes, I knew you were right there the entire time. Do something about it. I did that because he is going to tell people, and it's going to be hilarious. Wait until we get outside. She warned him, keeping a schooled expression. It won't be funny in a minute. Yes it will. Naruto insisted, not too frightened by her not-so-veiled threat, because you and I both know that there's no way in hell you're going to be caught chasing me all over the place in broad daylight, my little bee. XXX. 45 minutes later. And he was right. She wasn't caught. Of course Naruto had forgotten that Soifan was only second to Yoruchi when it came to mastery of her Shuinpa, and when people tried looking at her moving when she went fast enough all they would see was a blur, if even that, and if she never stopped they would never know it was really her. And clearly, when she activated her Shurikai and gave him a quick, shallow little cut on his chest followed by the most evil look he had ever seen on her face, Naruto realized she was legitimately chasing his ass down and activated swift release. From that point forward all bets were off. If he stopped to get help, not that any of the random Shinigami they flew past at full speed could actually help him, she would get one free shot at him that if she had mercy and chose not to kill him, would take him down before he could even utter a word for assistance and drag him off to beat his ass away from prying eyes or anyone that could hear him scream in horror. So he didn't stop, and neither did she, and he couldn't lose her, no matter how hard he tried. No amount of Kage Bunshin could get her to divert her attention as she would kill them as fast as he could make them. They would only buy him half a second at the most, and she would be right back on him. At this point he was legitimately impressed, and afraid for his life, but hadn't looked over his shoulder in over 10 minutes because she would still be there. Stop chasing me, damn it. We're running out of Siriidii here. Naruto shouted as the massive gates separating the Siriidii from the Rukongai drew closer and closer. What the hell are you going to say when we rip up half of the Rukongai running all over the place? The Ryoka was getting out of hand and I had to stop him. Soifan answered just the way she would if the issue were to be brought before Yamamoto. It's my word against yours and I have tenure to say the least. You can't keep this up all day, Uzumaki. Naruto rolled his eyes and formed another Kage Bunshin to take a hit for him as Soifan had drawn too close once again. Are you kidding me? Did I drop you on your head when we fought or did you really forget? I'm fucking Uzumaki Naruto. At the rate this is draining chakra I'm getting back more than I'm losing over time. Soifan smirked as she continued to chase Naruto down. It's not like I'm losing that much energy either, Uzumaki. Eventually you'll slip up and I'll be right there. Soifan's speed with Shuinpa consisted of covering the most amount of space with the least amount of steps. And she was the best at it besides Yoruchi. Naruto's speed was based on him using his Kekkei Genkai that blended lightning for sheer speed, wind for lessening his weight to move fast enough to at times leave after images, and Yang Chakra to reinforce his entire body so that he didn't damage parts of it like his eyes, and so that he could use them to see while moving so fast, to move his legs as fast as possible and haul ass. It was perfect for someone with his stamina and regenerative capabilities, otherwise moving his legs that fast could be dangerous. Jidenbu opened the gate. Naruto shouted frantically as he knew they were cutting it close here. For the love of Kami, open the damn gate or I am going to die. He opened his sage coat to reveal a butterfly mark on his chest. She already tagged me once, damn it. The giant man with fantastic hearing had come to like the borderline maniacal blonde after he stopped his rogue fellow gate guardians, and he really didn't want to see if the notorious captain of the 2nd Division would actually go through with it and kill him. Don't stop running, Naruto, I'm on it. The man lifted the large door just in time for the two to rush under his feet and exit the Siri. Free volume just for you, big man. Everyone I owe favors to gets one. Naruto's voice echoed as he and Soifan tore through the streets, leaving the civilian sole denizens of the town in their wake. Jidenbu grinned to himself and lowered the gate. I hope it's the new sequel he hasn't published yet. I already have the first one. XXX. Shiba clan home. Yuruchi and Kakaku sat in her main room simply drinking sake and lazing around. The Shiba clan head let out a sigh as she leaned back on the multiple pillows on the floor. It's been a while since we've been able to spend time like this, Yuruchi. It's nice to have you out of that cat form of yours. Hey. Yuruchi pointed her saucer at Kakaku in false offense. I happen to like my cat form. It's almost as cute as the real me is, don't you think so? You cannot enter the premises without permission, leave now. One of Kakaku's massive bodyguards shouted from outside, alerting the two women inside. Get the fuck out of my way or I'll use your skull to bust the door down. A loud crash was heard before the sound of bodies falling down the stairs. Both Yuruchi and Kakaku got up and looked outside the room to see Naruto standing on the two unconscious bodies of the two men at the foot of the stairs. Naruto jumped off and kicked one of them multiple times in irritation. Naruto? Yuruchi said, getting the man's attention, and stopping him from repeatedly kicking the downed servants of the clan. What the hell are you doing here? Kakaku looked at Naruto's feet and shrugged. At least he took his shoes off before he drop-kicked my servants down the stairs. Naruto looked at Yuruchi and almost broke down in tears at the sight of her. Oh, you beautiful, beautiful, gracious, magnanimous woman. I'm so glad I wasn't wrong about you being here because this is a dead end. Why were you so hard to find? He immediately flew to her feet and wrapped himself around her legs, hugging them tightly. I thought I was dead like 8 times back there. She just kept coming. But when she stopped to fight me, all of the people around realized who I was and ran over to get my autograph. Greatest human shields ever. Yuruchi cocked an eyebrow with an amused look on her face while Kakaku was trying and failing to hold back her laughter at seeing the mighty warrior reduced to a blubbering heap. Alright, calm down, Naruto, and tell me what's wrong. Who's chasing you? I don't know why you took refuge in this strange house Uzumaki and I don't care, but your Ryuryoku is so panicked and wild right now I could find you halfway around the Soul Society. Naruto's head almost snapped a full 180 at the sound of the voice and he immediately jumped up and ran inside the room Kakaku and Yuruchi had been in. Soifan came downstairs with her shuriken on her arm, looking around for Naruto before noticing who was there. Yuruchi-sama? Yuruchi had a sly smile on her face and pointed off to the side where Naruto had dove into to hide. He's in there. There's no way out from that room. Yuruchi-chan. Yuruchi laughed a bit. You should know better than to poke at a bee, Naruto, least of all my little bee. She's got one hell of a sting. I noticed. Now for the love of Kami, call her off. Seriously, if I have to fight in here we're going to tear this place apart. Oh hell no. Kakaku shouted, grabbing Soifan before she could walk into the room and try to kick Naruto's ass. You're not messing up the house I put so much effort in setting up. Do you know how long it took to set this entire house to go with this theme? Take it outside. Naruto walked out of the room now that it was reasonably safe. I'm not going out there anytime soon. Not while Soifan's still pissed and has her love mark on me. He looked at the mark on his chest and narrowed his eyes at the woman in question. You know, you can turn this thing off anytime you want to. I know. She replied, the cheekiness of her tone hidden by the basic delivery of the words. Kakaku threw her hands in the air in exasperation. Fine, if no one's leaving I'm going to get back to what I was doing before this. Getting drunk. She said as she walked back into the room. Oi, right here. Let me get some of that. Naruto said as he followed her inside. Maybe if I get drunk I'll forget about my impending doom. Yuruchi shrugged and walked inside as well, dragging Soifan with her. Come on Soifan, it's been a while since we could sit and talk like this. You should actually thank Naruto for whatever it is he did. She smirked at her. You'd still be in that office of yours right now if he hadn't. Yuruchi, get in here. This baby-faced punk says he can take me down in a drinking contest. We need a judge. Ah. I've hung out with alcoholics of all shapes and sizes for years, I'm untouchable. XXX. The next day. Naruto awoke, unable to move, laying on the floor of Kakaku's audience room with only one thing to say, in the quietest voice ever, greatest wake-up ever. Naruto's right arm was being used as a pillow, instead of all the actual pillows nearby, by Kakaku, and he found his arm deposited between a rather soft and abundant area on the woman's chest. His left arm was likewise being used as such by Yoruchi, who was further up on his shoulder towards his face, so much so that he could feel her breath tickling his ear. And then there was Soifan, who was using a combination of his legs and Yoruchi's legs to lay her head on. She was a very light girl. I'm glad you think so, Yoruchi said, opening her eyes slowly with a grin that started spreading across her face. She let out a yawn and laid her head back on his shoulder as she looked at him tiredly. I was looking for you yesterday to tell you that Yamamoto Soteishu wanted a meeting with you today. Naruto narrowed his eyes at her. Yamamoto Gigi wants to see me today? Why? Yoruchi shut her eyes. I don't know. You should show up though. Of course I am, Naruto said before his eyes widened at what his clone from yesterday had given him when it dispelled in his sleep. Damn, Soifan, and I need to wake up now. That thing that Yamamoto Gigi wants to see me for, she's supposed to be there too with all of the other captains. Please don't tell me we slept until noon, that's when the meeting was supposed to be. Letting out a sound of disappointment at having to move, Yoruchi let go of Naruto's arm and slowly removed herself from Soifan's grasp, walking into Kakaku's bedroom to check the time before returning. It's 9:34. You've got over 2 hours. Great, Naruto said, comfortable that he would have time to get himself together and make it back with time to spare. Now can you help me get these women off of me? He frowned visibly after saying that. I should never have to repeat that sentence ever again. Yoruchi giggled and helped him slowly start prying Kakaku off of his arm, laughing quietly as she looked down at Soifan. She's still a lightweight, I see. She didn't even have much. Naruto smiled as he pulled Soifan off of his legs. Don't make fun of Soifan. We all can't be alcoholic juggernauts like me. Like her, do you? Yoruchi grinned at him as she helped him stand up and watch him shake his legs out to get blood flow back into them. Well, yeah, Naruto said, stretching himself out lightly. Despite it being completely terrifying when she was chasing me yesterday, I'm more than a little convinced that it was just her playing. She wouldn't have killed me if she had caught me. He looked down at the still sleeping captain, right? I mean, as far as I could see, we were playing like that all day long. Yoruchi pointed at his chest. Well, the mark is gone, so I would say she wasn't really mad at you, not like after your fight. She gestured for him to leave. Now get going towards the Siriidii. I'll wake up Soifan and send her right after you. Naruto threw his sage coat on and saluted her before leaving the house altogether. XXX. 2 hours later, 1st Division Headquarters. With the pace Naruto had cut in returning to the Siriidii, it hadn't taken long for an awakened and freshened up Soifan to catch him, apparently not suffering any hangover effects or saddled with any memories of how she had slept the previous night. And thusly, the two fell into step on their way to the Captain Commander himself. So do you even know what this is about? The order that the clone playing you was given was really vague. Naruto asked her. No idea Uzumaki. Soifan replied, just don't make yourself look foolish in there. Every captain will be there, and whatever it is you're going to be there for, you're going to want to seem somewhat dignified. Naruto gave her a strange look. What about that guy with the eye patch and spiky belled hair? Well, . Or what about the weird guy with the pasty clown face and weird headgear? That's dignified. I'm not . Naruto kept cutting her off as they walked through the halls, and if you think for 1 second I'm going to go walking around acting like Byakuya, you might as well forget about it. I'll strike a happy medium. Soifan let out an exasperated sigh. I would kick you in the head, but we don't have time for this today. Naruto smirked. Whatever, you would need a ladder to reach anyway. Or maybe I could get down on one knee to help you. Before she could retaliate, he pointed at an open pair of double doors that represented the captain's assembly hall, saving himself from her wrath, for now anyway. As the two entered, Soifan fell in line with the other captains, who stood in 2 even lines as Naruto stood at the opposite end of them, facing Yamamoto, who soon began to speak. Uzumaki Naruto. First of all, I would like to thank you for cleaning the 1st Division headquarters after all of the unpleasantness was over with. He opened with a little joke that got a grin out of Naruto and a few captains. Naruto rubbed the back of his head sheepishly. No problem. After all, my clones were the ones who did it. And they were the ones that cleaned it. The sight of 50 Narutos cleaning the building brought some cheer to the rather gloomy atmosphere after Aizen's betrayal. Sorry about that. They're a little wild without being given orders. The old captain cleared his throat. Well, I have some questions to ask you and I'm fairly certain that the others here do as well. So I'll be opening the floor for them to do so before I ask my own. Naruto nodded his agreement to the proceedings and pointed at the rather interested-looking man with the almost skeletal visage. It was actually the same man that Naruto had been referring to earlier. Kuratsuchi Mayuri, captain of the 12th Division and president of the Shinigami Research Institute. He said, introducing himself to Naruto before getting down to business with his question. For a human, you have a very strange balance in your Ryu-ryoku, among many other irregularities that normally go with your race. That is something I would like to examine at some point during your stay in the Siriidii. Naruto seemed to miss the combination of the gleam in his eyes and the fact that he really didn't ask him if he could examine him. He just said he was going to. Yeah, sure, just find me if you need me later. Me or one of my clones should be flying all over the place for another week at least. With his only real concern for showing up sated, the scientist captain stood back and allowed for another to ask a question, this time a rather large man with an eye patch and bells in his spiked hair. Are you any stronger than Ichigo? Naruto shrugged. Well, yeah. He saw an evil grin form on the man's face and wound up putting some past information together at just that moment. You're Zaraki Kenpachi, aren't you? The man nodded, never taking his eyes off of Naruto. Shit. Are there any other questions? Yamamoto asked the captains, getting no response. Well, Uzumaki-san, I have a few questions for you myself. I am aware of the age of Kurosaki Ichigo and his friends, but your own is a mystery to me. How old are you? Naruto scratched his head and thought hard. I'm not sure. I'm around 200 years older than the current calendar system, but I stopped counting until that system fell into use because it was useless to know, so I don't really know. Am I older than you? Yamamoto actually laughed at this. No. I'm still older than you. You're as old as my two pupils though it seems. And you still look so young. Naruto frowned. That's because this age was the age I was at when all of the things that wound up making me immortal fell into place. It's kind of cool though. He said with a grin, I'm apparently right at the age that separates kids from adults in this era, so I can walk both sides of the line. In my time I was just an adult, so I didn't get any privileges as a kid, ever really. He looked over at a small captain with spiky white hair. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? He got a simple roll of the eyes from the child-looking captain. Teasing Hitsugaya Taishu aside, Uzumaki-san. Yamamoto interjected, getting the meeting back on track. What certain elements combine to make you immortal? Naruto sighed. My family had a natural life force that far exceeded any other. I have the hereditary eyes of the man that had been perceived as a god by many in my time, the Rinnegan. I have a perfect synchronization with nature in the living world that keeps me healthy and my body strong, and here's the kicker, I have the most powerful entity in the history of the world trapped in my body for as long as I live. A creature known as the Jubi. Yamamoto's eyes opened slightly wider. How powerful is this creature? And how are you keeping it at bay? Naruto lifted his shirt and channeled chakra to his belly. This is just the spiritual embodiment of it. It's physical and spiritual energy, or as I would call it, chakra. An elaborate seal marking on Naruto's belly appeared and spread all along his torso. This keeps the power at bay. The physical body is trapped in the moon orbiting the earth. He heard a snicker or two. Fine, don't believe me, I don't care. I don't even want to tell any of you this. Yukite looked at Naruto in confusion. Then why are you doing so now? Naruto turned to him and lowered his shirt. Because now you guys know who I am and are going to try and keep tabs on me in the world of the living. You would have found out eventually, and this way at least I can explain things or answer questions you have before you start jumping to conclusions and order my extermination or something. He crossed his arms. I have a very good track record of destroying those that try destroying me. Kamimura stepped forward and moved in front of Yamamoto as he perceived Naruto's words as a threat. What are you saying? What do you want with the Siriidii and the Soul Society? Naruto looked at the wolf-headed Shinigami with no alarm or fear. He had seen far stranger things. I just want to keep existing. There are too many things I have to do for the living world for me to simply die or cow to the will of another. The reason he had told them this much was because there were still things about the Jubi's power that he had been keeping to himself. Things no one but him needed to know, at least for now, because at least one of his secrets would cause a panic. Yamamoto stroked his long beard. I have a proposition for you, Uzumaki. He saw Naruto's eyes lock with him and could tell he had his attention. We plan on giving Kurosaki Ichigo a position as an official substitute Shinigami, however we have another proposition for you. Naruto's face remained stern as the old man continued, how would you like to form a frontier division in the world of the living? Frontier division? Naruto questioned rather suspiciously, I don't want to take orders or work for anyone. I'm not going to be anyone's weapon to just point, shoot, and let annihilate. Nothing of the sort. Yamamoto said in an effort to clear things up, I'm just saying that much of this current trouble with Aizen could have been avoided if the Soul Society had more eyes abound. There needs to be a group with no real standing orders, a group that can handle issues that spring up or call for assistance in case it becomes necessary. An ally in the middle of the world of the living. Imagine if Kuchiki Rukia would have had a potential safe area she could have gone to once everything had gone awry during her stay. Naruto opened his mouth to answer when Yamamoto spoke again, of course I have no authority to authorize such a thing. Naruto almost fell out on the floor, well then why are you telling me this if you can't even put it together? Because, Yamamoto said, both of his eyes locked on Naruto in a firm glance, while the only power I have to take note of is the Central 46, we still need to replace the Central 46. Which means that until then I take over their normal duties. I now only answer to the Spirit King himself, and if the issue arises I am sure that I can provide many valid reasons to let this happen. He may be particularly interested in you with your lifespan Uzumaki-san, among other things. Naruto blinked in confusion, now how does a 10-year trial period sound? Naruto thought for a moment. 10 years were nothing to him, and if he didn't like it he could just back out then. Okay, here are some rules. Rule 1, I don't take orders, from you, from anyone. Kamamura bristled and moved to berate Naruto, but Yamamoto cut him off, allowing him to continue, I will work with you, I will listen to things you have to say and we'll have a mutually beneficial relationship, but I don't work for you. Rule 2, I pick the people on this division you want me to head up. I won't be accepting your castaways or exiles or prisoners or whatever. Why do you want me to do it anyway? Yamamoto returned to his kindly-looking old man appearance, you're not going anywhere for a long, long, long time. True. Naruto admitted before continuing, Rule 3, or should I say Condition 3, you're going to tell me where that Aizen guy is. Uruchi-chan told me he was in the hollow plain Hueco Mundo, but I mean when you pinpoint his location. I want to know. Yamamoto tapped his cane on the ground lightly, we were going to tell you anyway. You would be an invaluable ally in the coming conflict with him. Naruto nodded in satisfaction, Rule number 4. I don't really have a rule for that yet, get back to me, but am I going to get paid for this? Yamamoto nodded and the ninja in Naruto was fully sated with the terms thus far, then I guess for now anyway we have a deal Yamamoto GG. Naruto said with a grin, but in the back of his head he felt a nagging feeling that he still had absolutely no idea what he had gotten himself into. Yamamoto let out a short chortle, it seems that we do, brat. He secretly enjoyed the scowl that crossed Naruto's face at being called a brat. XXX. My name is Uzumaki Naruto. Age, I thought we went through this already. I don't know. Hometown, anywhere I damn well please, or for right now at least, Karakura Town. I think. Likes, ramen, every Shinigami female I've seen thus far because they are all super cute, finding out exactly what the hell makes the world beyond ours tick, the buzz I get from activating Sage Mode in the Soul Society, picking on Ichigo and his friends, and everyone I can get away with it on, saying, who's your daddy, to certain people around the Soul Society because I'm older than them. The cute look on Soifan's face when I piss her off, the sexy smirk Uruchi-chan gives me when she has a secret. Dislikes, I still hate waiting on ramen to cook, I still hate fresh raw vegetables, I still hate everything that I listed the last time but Spritz are slowly getting off of that list of mine, some of them in particular more than others. I'm starting to hate Uruchi-chan's sexy smirk that she gives me whenever she has a secret, because her secrets are usually unpleasant. And I also hate old men that are still legitimately older than me calling me, brat. My name is Uzumaki Naruto and I still have no idea what the hell is going on. I know enough to smile and nod and go somewhere else to figure things out on my own or yell and bitch about it, but I've never been so grateful to be immortal as I have right now, because I think it's going to take at least a full lifetime for me to figure all of this stuff out about the world of spirits, and most of that knowledge is probably going to hurt me to learn. Oh well, a sage is supposed to be a wise man, a man of the world at one with all of nature and existence. I bet I'm further along on that than any other so-called sage before me. I might not ever be as famous as the Rikudo Sannin of my time, But I'll damn sure have a tighter relationship with the afterlife, believe it. God damn it. I swear to Cammy I am going to fix that no matter how many years it takes.